I'm Mind, and I just got another issue of the LEGO Ninjago magazine. Except this isn't the normal LEGO Ninjago magazine, this is the LEGO Ninjago LEGACY Magazine. It's been a while since I've covered one of these. I feel like it was a year or two ago. The last one I covered, I think, was the one with Ronin in it. Yeah, actually, I think that was a long time ago. I was still like a sophomore or junior in college then, and I'm graduated now. I remember bringing the Ronin minifigure back to college with me. Anyway, for those who don't know, yeah, there is actually two different Ninjago magazines. There's the main one, which I cover every month on this channel, and then there's the LEGACY one, which you can see right here. These come out like every other month, so there's usually about 6 issues a year. And back when it first began, it was a Ninjago LEGACY magazine. It was for the LEGACY sub-theme back when that was a thing, and it came with minifigures from that sub-theme. And it was all about classic Ninjago, while the newer magazine was about modern Ninjago. But then LEGACY as a sub-theme ended, what, 4 years ago at this point? 2021 was the last year? And they didn't change the name of this magazine. It's still happening. For a little bit, it kind of became the Ninjago Core magazine. It was still called Ninjago LEGACY, but it came with core figures instead. But now Core is even gone too, so instead it comes with minifigures from just like the modern seasons. Very weird to me that this still exists. I like that it exists, but it's just super bizarre that it's still called the LEGACY magazine. Anyway, I decided to get this issue because it comes with some really cool minifigures. They're actually in this little tin, which is a really nice, like, little collectible. I kind of wish the main magazine did that. But it's Mech Pilot Suit Zane, which comes in a $30 set, but he only comes in one set, so it's nice to get another version of him. And then the main reason I got this magazine, one of the Tournament Temple City guards. That's an amazing minifigure to get in a magazine, because that figure was previously exclusive to a $250 set. And in the show, there's a ton of those guys, but you only get one in the set. So now, thanks to this magazine, it's a lot easier to build up an army if you wanted to. I don't think I'm going to be building up an army, but I do like having an extra. So that's why I mainly got this one, for those minifigures. And we'll take a look at them at the end of the video, just like we do with the normal magazine. But of course, first I want to take a look at the actual magazine itself. I'm probably not going to go as in-depth with this one as I do with the main magazines, because there's probably not going to be like any hints towards the show or anything. Like I said, it's about Ninjago's history, and it does have comics and stuff. But at least to my knowledge, there's no like hints towards the new season or like canon comics or anything. Instead, it's mostly just for fun. I asked this last time I covered one of these, but it's been a while, so I'll ask it again. Do you guys want to see me do this more often? Would you like to see me cover every single issue? Typically, the minifigure selection has not been the best, except for rare occasions like this. And because I'm in the US, it's very expensive to get these imported, so I haven't typically felt it worth it unless there's a really cool minifigure. But the channel's a lot bigger now, there's a lot more of you guys out there. So if you guys want to see more LEGACY magazine content, let me know in the comments, and maybe I'll get a subscription to it. Anyway, with all that said, let's get started. It's a special edition, 2 cool LEGO minifigures, the LEGO Ninjago LEGACY. Ice Cold and Tough, 2 LEGO minifigures, great technique, is Zane vs. Temple Guard. Game time, duel for the city. Interesting, so there's crystallized stuff in here. I guess as long as it's not Dragon's Rising, it could be considered LEGACY now. That's just kind of funny to see that the LEGACY magazine has something that's after, like, the LEGACY sets. We got WoW posters, loaded with games and missions, Tower of Terror, can the ninja crush an army of Nindroids? Win amazing LEGO sets. I don't think I'm doing that. Do not mess with Lloyd. Alright, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here on the first page, we have an ad for the Climber Mech. Good to see that's in both magazines. Here's the table of contents, very similar to the normal magazine. I also think it's worth mentioning, I believe the LEGACY magazine skews a little bit younger. Obviously, both magazines are still very much for kids, but I think LEGACY is sort of meant to be the intro magazine, and then the normal magazine's for like a little bit older. So things might be a bit more simple in here. Here you can rank which of the characters you think is stronger. Then this is the bio page on the minifigures. I'll read through this real quick, see if there's anything interesting or worth pointing out. Okay, they are just talking about the Tournament of Sources. They're not like pretending this is something from an earlier season. So I don't really see how this is LEGACY magazine. I guess they've just given up trying to justify that part. Apparently Zane's favorite ice cream flavor is lemon. I did not know that. Anyway, I have a couple little games right here that tie in with the minifigures. That's cute. Turning to the next page, we have a nosediving for dessert. And again, this is Dragon's Rising stuff. So maybe this is just like younger Dragon's Rising magazine, huh? I guess they've just stuck with the LEGACY title, even if it doesn't mean anything. Okay, and this is just like a bunch of little mini games to help Araz and Aaron get to these cookies. I like how there's a little comic, like, integrated with the games. I think that's fun. The normal magazine doesn't normally do stuff like that. Turning to the next page, we have Once Upon a Time. I like how they mark the season, so this is all about Season 3. This reminds you of some of the characters from the early seasons, and weirdly the mechanics here, even though they're talking about Season 3, he did not first appear until Season 6, I believe? Technically Season 2, but he did not appear as the mechanic until Season 6. And he worked for Master Chen in Season 4, even though we didn't see him. So yeah, I don't know why he's on the Nindroid page, aside from the fact that he has a Nindroid eye. They might have him confused with Cryptor. This is a maze for Cyrus Borg to escape the Nindroids. And then here we are at the comic, the Tower of Terror. So this looks to take place during Season 3. We got Nindroids, we got Cyrus Borg. So as always, I'm not going to read the entire thing to you guys, but feel free to pause the video and read it for yourself. And if I notice anything especially funny or interesting, I will stop and point it out. Okay, the Nindroids have been activated. Alrighty, this does seem a lot more simple than the normal magazine comics. Turning to the next page. Okay, so they're hanging out at the Monastery of Spijitzu, even though that didn't exist at this point in time. They're also in their core suits, but that doesn't bother me as much. You can just imagine them as their modern suits. And I guess also Nia's a ninja here. Unless this isn't supposed to be Season 3 and this is just another time they fought Nindroids, I guess we'll see. I like Zane's joke here. What's a ninja's favorite food? Ninja berries. And they're like, Zane, that was terrible. Alright, they encounter the Nindroids and it's time to fight. I'm still not really sure where this takes place on the timeline, if it fits anywhere. I don't think it does. I think it's just a silly little comic where they fight Nindroids. But I guess we'll see. Anyway, just like the main magazines, there is a break in the comic, and here we have Duel for the City, which is Crystallized theme. Sure, we're all over the place here. And this is a little dice rolling board game, which is always cool. I like those a lot. And then we have the posters in the center of the magazine. And they both seem to be Prime Empire themed this time around. Prime Empire was right around where I started collecting the Ninjago magazine, so I'm not sure if these are new or just like reprints of old ones from the main magazine. But either way, I do like this design. I think the green in the background's very cool. Unigami looks neat. Don't know if I need to be hanging up a Prime Empire poster in the year 2025, but that one looked alright. Then here we have Ninja Undercover, and it's all the ninja in their avatar suits except for Zane, who's in his old like detective outfit. Not the official Detective Zane minifigure, this is like the fake one the magazine made up for season 12? Yeah, that's what number it is, season 12, back when that was still airing. And no, this must be a new poster, because it does say Ninjago Legacy in the corner. That's so weird seeing Prime Empire stuff branded as Ninjago Legacy. This magazine is so bizarre. Anyway, this one's okay, I guess. The avatar suits are relatively ugly in general. Like, obviously the main three right there who actually got unique avatar suits are quite cool, but Cole's is terrible, Nia's is terrible, and then this isn't even Avatar Zane. So not the biggest fan of this one, but the Unigami one was kind of cool. Coming back to the magazine, we have the other side of the crystallized board game. I didn't realize it was a double page, but this makes a lot more sense. I was wondering where the roles were. And then if I turn the page, we should be back to the comic. Let's see, is there anything happening here? Okay, so they do know what Nindroids are, so this is not their first time encountering them. That's something that could give us a hint of the timeline. And Nia is using her water powers, like, definitely here, so this is not just a stand-in for Samurai X. And then the mechanic shows up, so I guess that's why they showed us the mechanic earlier in the magazine to tell us who he was. Okay. A lot's happening here. And simultaneously, nothing is happening here. So the mechanic has a hot dog cannon that he's shooting into Borg Tower, and then Zane's like, I wish I had a mech, and Cyrus Borg's like, I have a mech, and then he just gets into his core mech to fight the, to fight the mechanic in his noodle truck. Okay, very interesting. Okay, and they defeat the mechanic, and they save the day, and then Zane finally makes a good joke, and it's all resolved at the end. Alright, I mean, this is definitely very different from the main magazine comics. I definitely see how it leans younger, like, this is definitely for younger kids than the main ones. I will say I found it kind of charming, like, I think it's cute. It's not trying to teach, like, a big lesson or tell a huge story. It's just kind of a cute moment between the characters, and it's not taking itself too seriously. Like, something like the hot dog cannon would feel very out of place in the main comics. So you know what, I kind of liked it. It was very different. And I think timeline-wise, this has to be, like, Prime Empire era for it to make any sense, which I guess kind of works. I guess he could still have like Nindroids in the basement that weren't in use, but I also think trying to analyze timeline here is just not worth it at all. And that was the end of the comic, but not the end of the magazine, and now we have some Prime Empire stuff. This is a game between Jay and Tsushimi. This is a little page just summarizing some of the stuff that happens in Prime Empire. It looks like you're supposed to cut this out and collect it. Okay, it continues on the other page, so it's the entirety of Prime Empire. So I have not gotten recent Legacy magazines, so maybe this is a thing they've been doing, where like there's these pages on multiple magazines, you're supposed to cut them out and collect them all, and then you have like the story of all of Ninjago. I like that, I think that's cool. Here is Ninja School, which is a coloring page. If you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, be ninja and just rock the hard place, but first grab your pens and color in today's lesson. Adorable. After that, we have Season 4 stuff, sure. You gotta follow this color path to get from start to finish in this maze right here. Here are some LEGO sets you can win by scanning this QR code and filling out a survey. And then finally we have an advertisement for the next Ninjago Legacy magazine, which is switching to the Tournament of Sources suits, and it's going to come with a purple Wolf Mask Warrior versus Kai. So it seems like they're picking out specific suits to come in the Legacy magazine versus come in the main magazine. Because, for example, this one comes with the mech suits, and the mech suits were not in the main magazine at all. And then in the main magazine, we've had the climber suits for a while, but they've not given us the Tournament of Sources suits. And at this point, I doubt they will give us those in the main magazine, but they're probably coming in this instead. Hopefully Lloyd comes in one of them, because I think he's the most important one that's hard to get. Nia, too, would be nice, but they never put Nia in anything, so I would be surprised if they put her in one of these. And it's cool to get the Wolfmask Warriors, too. These guys aren't too difficult to get, at least without the armor pieces, because they do come in a poly bag, but it is still nice to have more ways to get them because they did not come in nearly enough mainline sets. And finally, you can make your own Sora jet and cut it out. So Sora is just in the Legacy magazine, sure. Or maybe it's an Aaron jet on the other side. Interesting. But yeah, that's about going to do it for the actual magazine part of the Legacy magazine. Very weird. Again, I think it's bizarre that this magazine still exists. I think it's cool that it does, but just seeing like Legacy still being used as the branding, I don't know, maybe they should think of a new name for it. I do like what's included though. I think for younger kids especially, this is a nice like summary of, oh, this is a bunch of things that have happened in Ninjago, here's a bunch of games, and it's a very simple comic too. I think especially younger kids will enjoy reading. But of course, that's not the main reason I bought it. I bought it for this, the tin that comes with the minifigures. So let's open this up and take a look at what's inside. This is like a really high quality tin. Like, I love this packaging. Again, it literally is just loose parts inside there. So let me put these minifigures together and we'll look at them up a little bit closer. Here's a look at the two minifigures that the magazine comes with, and right off the bat, I want to say that I like the fact that there is two. The trade-off there is that these two do not come with the super interesting weapons that we get in the main Ninjago magazine. However, I would much rather have a second minifigure than a really interesting weapon, as much as I do like those weapons. But yeah, I think having two minifigures in general is really, really cool, because it's a nice, like, all-in-one package. You get a good guy and you get a bad guy and they can fight. And these two especially, like, they've never come in a set together before, and as I mentioned, this guy was exclusive to a $250 set, so it's so nice to get him in like a cheap little magazine. Talking about the minifigures themselves, I really like Mech Suit Zane. The white and the lighter blue are just such a nice color combination, especially with the gold trim on everything too. He does look better if he has his armor piece, which unfortunately was not included here, but again, this does come with two minifigures, so I'm a little less critical of that as opposed to what I'd be with like a full-size set. Zane has his name written on the back and in jargon too, and you can see his accessory is just a golden katana. Faceprint is just the standard Dragon's Rising faceprint, and of course it's got the Dragon Power eyes on the other side, which if you're curious, there's how those look from the front. But the Temple Guard is the very exciting one. Now this guy also unfortunately is not fully complete. He's supposed to have like the crystallized dragon armor piece on his torso, and that's just not included here. I will say that's probably the least important part of this minifigure. It just takes away his shoulder pads and like the part that comes out the back. But apart from the Tournament Temple City, that part does not come in any other sets currently on shelves. It was entirely in crystallized sets before this. So if you don't want to take apart your Golden Dragon Ninja, unfortunately this guy is going to have to stay incomplete. Amazing actual design on him though. I love the gold printing on top of the gold plastic. That's always such a cool combination whenever they do that. And you can see he's got the Tournament of Sources logo on his back here. Around the front you can see they have like an oxygen mask in burnt orange, and I love the use of that part. It makes him feel very mechanical. But if we take it off, he's got this very cute little robot face. I love the detail of how like the gears in his torso are shurikens. Again, just like the back torso print, it's gold printing on top of a gold piece, and that looks incredible. And unfortunately, no leg printing on this guy, which would have been nice to see, but I think he looks fine without it. He is just like a generic drone. Overall, I think this is a phenomenal minifigure. I would have liked if he had his armor piece, but I'm so glad there's just another way to get this guy in general. He's a very, very cool one. I'm quite happy with both of these. But now, overall, what are my thoughts on this magazine? Would I recommend it? Well, number one, in terms of recommending it, is the minifigures, and by far, this is one of the best magazine promos we've gotten ever, like in any Ninjago magazine. This isn't the first time we've had a D2C minifigure in a Ninjago magazine. I was talking about Ronin earlier. He was only in the Ninjago City Gardens and then a magazine. And then I believe they also did Misdemeanor. I didn't get that one, but yeah, that one was in a magazine. But this time around, I like how both figures are really good. Like, they're both fairly uncommon ones. Zane's not difficult to get because he does come in a cheap set, but at least personally, I love having duplicates of all of my minifigures, so it's great to have a way to get a duplicate of that guy without buying a second of the set. And then, as I said, the Temple Guard is a phenomenal inclusion, especially because unlike Ronin or Misdemeanor, you actually do want multiples of these guys, because a bunch of them do appear in the show. So yeah, promo alone, this is amazing. Very, very good. And then the magazine itself, I mean, it's fine. To me personally, definitely a lot less interesting than the main Ninjago magazines, but that's for two reasons. Number one, as I mentioned, it aims a lot younger, so there's not really that much to like break down, go into here. It's very surface level. But then the other thing is, it's just not based off new stuff. The main magazine's fun because it gives us little teasers and stuff about like what's coming to Ninjago, and the comics are about filling in the gaps of the show. This time around, the comic was cute, but it was very simple, and I couldn't even place it in the timeline anywhere, right? It was just supposed to be a fun little non-canon adventure, which, as I said, I think for kids is amazing. But for older collectors, there is a little less in the magazine, however, more from the toy. So I think that's a fair trade-off. Overall, though, I genuinely had a lot of fun with this magazine, and if you guys are interested, I'd love to continue buying them too. So let me know if you guys want to see more of this in the comments. But as for this video, I think that's about all I have to say. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to my channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!